Hey finders, and welcome back to Fortune Finds. Today I'm going to be teaching you guys my updated brow routine. This has been a very highly requested video, which I'm super excited for. You guys know anything that you guys want to see, that is my favorite kind of video to upload because that means I'm just helping one of you, at least one of you, really up your makeup game. Now I did upload a brow routine. I want to say, was it about a year ago? It's crazy how time flies, but I did use the Glossier Brow Flick in that video. If you would like to check out that one, I would use the brow flick the same way today as I did then. I will link it up here as well as down below in the description. I've talked about this quite a few times. I have very distant cousin brows. My eyebrows are very different from one another, and it's a little hard to reshape your brows with the brow flick to kind of change the overall shape of one of them to match the other one. So I just find that when you have very different brows, a brow pencil will really take you to where you want to be in terms of symmetry. But if you are someone that just has really bushy brows or brows that are pretty symmetric, then I really do recommend the brow flick. It really gives those very hair-like strokes that are so realistic and just look so natural. But today I am going to be using the Anastasia Beverly Hills brow flick, and I'm just going to show you guys, like I said, my updated brow routine. Before we go ahead and hop into the video, make sure that you subscribe and ring the bell before the conclusion of this video. If you've never seen my face before, my name is Fortune. I'm a certified professional makeup artist, and I just really love to help you guys learn a little bit more about beauty, up your makeup game, make you feel good, look good. This way you guys feel inclined to do really badass things. I really want to empower you guys through the use of makeup, and that is really my mission here each and every day. So yeah, with that being said, let's go ahead and hop right into the video. Taking my brow pencil and a smaller compact mirror, hold that a little bit below my face. This way I can see all of the angles of my brow and brush the brow hairs of my bad brow down first. I'm just gonna start to map out the top half of my brow. This is definitely where I have the most scarcity in terms of hairs. I'm lacking a lot of hair up here, and I'm just gonna kind of map out how I want my arch to go, and I'm using very quick, light back and forth flicking motions. I don't want to go in with a harsh line and just trace the entire upper portion of my brow because it kind of doesn't look natural and it's not going to look very believable. You can see I've mapped out the tail of my brow, and I'm just going to go back and forth and just fill in the areas where, again, I am lacking any brow hair. Don't fill in where you have a lot of hair because it's just unnecessary, and again, it's really just going to darken the entire brow and just make it look less like your brows and more like you drew them on. I'm then going to brush my hairs up, so brushing the brow up, and I'm just going to see where I have any bald patches, honestly, and just work to fill those in with the same flicking light motions. And I think it's important to take note of where I'm holding the pencil. I'm holding it towards the middle or the back half of the pencil when applying because it doesn't put as much pressure on the tip, and it's going to give you really light, believable strokes. And I also hold the pencil on its side when applying. I never hold it straight. Now moving on to the front portion of my brow, I'm going to brush that up just because that is the direction in which my hair grows. And I'm just going to trace the bottom half of the brow like I did with the arch in the same quick flicking motions. This imperfect line is kind of going to pose as a guideline, kind of think of this as like a template of where I'm going to go ahead and start my upward flick. So it's kind of mapping out the front portion of my brow. I also think that the front portion of your brow is extremely important. This is the most important portion of your brow because the front half of your brow really dictates, in my opinion, whether you filled your brows in naturally or, extremely poorly. If the front half of your brow looks like a rectangle, in my opinion, that's not a really good look and a dead giveaway that you filled in your brows, and no offense, but you're not so great at doing it. And I think it's also really important to notice that I'm flicking the brow in the direction of which my hair is growing, whether it be up in the front portion of my brow or sideways and up in the tail portion of my brow. Following the hair growth with your pencil, creating those hair-like strokes, you guessed it, creates the most natural looking brow. And there we go. That is my bad brow on. Now moving on to my good brow, I'm going to brush it down like I did at the start of my bad brow. And I'm going to go ahead and look straight into my vanity mirror. And I'm kind of going to map out where the arch of my good brow needs to be based on the brow that I've already drawn in. And I'm just going to draw a dot right there. This is going to help create that kind of stencil template for me. And I'm going to go ahead and draw those little strokes to go ahead and map out my arch, and also filling in my tail where I'm missing some hairs. And the great thing about using a brow pencil is that I can simply go ahead and clean up any mistakes that I've made with the warmth of my finger. And now I'm gonna brush my brow up, and we're gonna go ahead and move on to the bottom portion. Taking my mirror again, I'm gonna draw that imperfect line underneath the front portion of my brow. And again, I like to look down into the mirror because I feel like it gives me a better viewpoint of how to fill in the front portion of my brow. And as you can see, I'm flicking the brow pencil up again, and I'm also holding the pencil on its side. Again, that's going to lay down a little bit less of a stark line, and it's going to kind of create that shadowy effect, those hair-like strokes that just look really, really natural. And again, I'm just flicking it up, following the direction in which my hair is growing. And I'm going to go back and forth between the two brows, tweak anything that needs to be tweaked. I also find that the section where the front portion of my brow meets the tail portion of my brow, sometimes I need to just add a couple more hair-like strokes that go up to make the two blend together. This way it doesn't look like a block and then a tail. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but maybe if you have that issue where the front portion of your brow doesn't look like it meshes with the tail end of your brow, just draw a couple hair-like strokes that go up right where they meet, and that might help you to create a more natural brow. And then once you think you're done filling in your brows, I always recommend using the spoolie to go ahead and brush your brow hairs up to locate any bald spots that you might want to fill in. Grabbing my brow duo pencil, this is kind of just like a stick concealer, and a flat shadow brush to just blend that out. If you don't own a stick concealer, by all means just use your liquid concealer, because we're essentially just going to use this to help clean up the perimeter of the brow. So I'm just going to take this and I'm really just going to clean up the top. You know, one thing to note is that when you're using that spoolie to help blend out your brow pencil, sometimes that spoolie can disperse product in places outside of the brow and kind of create a shadow, leaving your brows a little bit less crisp than they can be. And this step is also really great when trying to achieve more symmetry. So I'm just going to take that flat brush and I'm just going to hold it on its side and just use that to really blend out that stick concealer. This way it doesn't look like, you know, I have concealer lines right above my brows. We do need to blend it out. And as you can see, using that stick to clean up the brows really makes them crisper, a little bit more defined, and help to even them out a bit more. Now here's some tricks. If you feel like you filled in the front portion of your brow a little bit too much, you can just take that spoolie, like I said, and use that to really blend it out to kind of disperse the product. Or you can grab a damp beauty sponge and just pat that in the front of the brow, and that damp beauty sponge is going to take away a little bit of the product that you laid down, helping the front of the brow look a little bit more natural. Now I'm going to take the ABH Clear Brow Gel, and I always like to take off the excess because excess product can just ruin the brows altogether. And I'm going to flick my brow hairs up. This is going to make your overall face look awake, and locking your hairs in with the gel is really going to make sure that your brow hairs don't move around, revealing any bald patches that you didn't necessarily fill in. We filled the brows in strategically in an upward position, so if the brows move around, that can take away from symmetry, and again, reveal any bald patches or bald spots that we may not have taken into consideration due to the way we filled our brows in. If you've noticed any bald spots after using your brow gel, just go ahead and take your pencil once more and fill them in. Sometimes if you press too hard with the brow gel, it can take away a little bit more of the brow product of that brow pencil. So go ahead, fill that in. And I always recommend when applying a brow gel to apply it really lightly. Don't press the spoolie into your skin, kind of just catch the hairs with that spoolie, again, to avoid taking away any brow product that you don't want to be taken away. All right, guys, and that is it. That is how I have been filling in my brows, I want to say, for at least the last 6 months. And if you do go ahead and try out any of my tips and tricks that I did touch upon in this video, I would love it if you would just come back, leave a comment down below, and let me know how it went for you. I really just love to know that I'm helping anyone, even if it's just one of you, really up your makeup game, just so, again, you just feel good about yourself, you feel good in your own skin, and can really just be empowered to just do whatever it is you put your mind to. I really do think that feeling good is just really empowering, no matter what that looks like for you. So I had a wonderful time as always. Make sure that you subscribe and ring that bell before you leave. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will see you in my next one. Bye, Finders. Mwah.